Hi everybody, my name is Alan. On behalf of the crew, I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Bridging Heaven and Earth. You know, here we are again. You know, I say that pretty much on every opening. We are here again, and we are here with a certain intention. We're here with an intention to, you know, just truly spread a vibration of love, a vibration of oneness, of inclusion, of the infinite. That basically, that's what we in human bodies want to experience. And when we have even a touch of that experience, we were talking earlier, that it feels like joy. It feels like love. And don't we want to know the joy in this life? I mean, don't we want to feel that, what people call bliss, that is less and less dependent on all the external forces at work and the ups and downs of this human life? And we all have them. We all have those things that trigger us or trouble us, or losses, and then we have gains, and then the things that give us happiness in a sense. But we all human beings have a sense that underneath all those things is an experience of God, of joy, of love, of that transcendental experience, that experience that goes beyond our day-to-day activities, is part of our day-to-day activities, is how we can manifest from that experience into our day-to-day activities. But don't we want to know the joy? You know, in this time of, actually, we're shooting on Easter Friday, Good Friday. We're shooting this show April 9th, 2004. And that's Good Friday. I don't know if it's Good Friday around the world, but it's Good Friday in America. I'm not that good on those kind of things. But and in this time, in all the theaters and all the world, out of this tremendous surprise to a lot of people, the Passion of the Christ is going around the world, making hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars, about the suffering of the Christ. What about the love of the Christ? What about the joy of the Christ? Do we know that? And can we know that? And the answer, of course, is yes. That we want to know that love, we are made of that love, and at this particular time, the hunger is so great to know that love, to know that joy. And so that's why we come together. I mean, the crew and I and the guests fly in from all over the world, as you know. I mean, tonight's guest, Nicky, Scully, flew in where we do this show in Southern California. You know, basically got up in the middle of the night, took a plane from Eugene, Oregon to come here to share her gifts and her love and her joy with us all. I mean, she's a spiritual teacher, she's a healer. She gives lectures and seminars worldwide, teaching about shamanism and joy and love and tradition and ceremonies, with the intent to bring us into that love, to know that love. I mean, she guides spiritual tours to sacred sites all over the world, in Egypt and Peru. She's the author of a number of books and CDs. One is Power Animal Meditation. The new one, this extraordinary new book, Alchemical Healing. And she's here to be part of this love, to be part of your experience, and to be part of our experience, and obviously to be part of her experience. So the effort she made was just to share. And we're really delighted and honored to have her with us tonight. And we also have, as we normally do, 2 beautiful music videos from the Rainbow Gatherings, the Rainbow People, which people come together in love, in joy, in inclusion, at different places all over the world, around campfires and tents and just in the wilderness, to just come together. So again, we're just honored to be with you tonight, and we hope you can share your time and your attention and your joy with us, because that's why we're here. So normally we will do a meditation now. We will again tonight, and then we'll have one of the videos. So please join me in a short meditation. If you don't know one, just relax, settle in. And Nicky will be with us, the videos will be here, and it's an opportunity. So please join me in a short meditation. Hi, thank you. So we're going to start tonight's show with a music video from the Rainbow People, from their Rainbow Gathering. We Shall Lift Each Other Up, words and lyrics by Ishel. So we shall lift each other up.
Humble yourself in the side of your sister. You got to bend down low. Humble yourself in the side of your brother. Ask him what he knows, and we shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other up. We shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other up. Humble yourself in the sight of the children. You got to bend down low. Humble yourself in the sight of the children. We need to know what they know, and we shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other up. We shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other up. Humble yourself in the sight of love. You got to bend down low. Humble yourself in the sight of child love, and let your love light show up. We shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other up. We shall lift each other up. Higher and higher, we shall lift each other up. Humble yourself. I say you got to humble yourself. Whoa. Humble ourselves. I say we got to humble ourselves. Whoa. Humble yourself in the sight of your sister. Humble yourself in the sight of your brother. Humble yourself in the sight of the babies. Humble yourself in the sight of Georgia. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. Humble yourself.
Hi, welcome. We're on the set with Nicky. Thanks for coming, Nick. It's great to have you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Good. So when did you realize in your life that there was more to it, that there was, things weren't the way they seemed?
Oh, well, I'd say it was about 1964 when I first took LSD. That was the defining moment for me. Oh, yeah.
And so, and your initial experience was that, my God, what I had thought was, there's more, there's different, there's bigger, there's...
Well, I actually thought about it quite a bit before I did it. I read everything that you could read at the time, which wasn't that much. I looked at it very intellectually. And then I went after it because I came from a very upper middle class, very straight Jewish background. And I was working in New York when I met my first hippie friend. And I sort of studied it and observed it and tried to figure it all out. And then I went back to California to see if I could find it. And but of course, you can't know without the experience what's going to happen. And my perspective changed 360. And when I came around, I was at a completely different level. And those initial visions from those years in the late 60s and 70s set a standard. Maybe it was an idealistic standard, but those visions have served me to this day.
Like what? What were the ideals? A certain purity, a certain inclusion, a certain oneness? I mean, what?
Well, you were speaking earlier about joy. It's that essence of joy and how that can permeate your life and your experience, the connectedness of all life. I guess that was probably the initial thing, just the realization of just how large it all is. I mean, we go through our lives with tunnel vision in comparison to an experience like that. And then, I guess in the late 60s, I moved to San Francisco and fell in love with the manager of the Grateful Dead, and so that rocked Scully, and that started a 14-year adventure.
So in other words, and he was the manager of the Grateful Dead, so you went everywhere the Grateful Dead did with all their concerts, all the experience?
Pretty much.
Wow.
I was in the middle of that, and so I would say that in some ways they were my first teacher, and that music and the experience that developed around that music.
And was that their intent from the beginning, just curiously? Was that the intent to make joyous music, or were they joyous people making music, or, how did you see that?
Well, I think that, they were musicians making music and finding joy in it, and finding this magical interplay with their audience. Remember, I never went to an acid test, but the whole idea was that there was no difference really between the audience and the creative process, and that's what I think started the phenomena that extended throughout their years of playing together, is this relationship with the audience that was unique.
But they really felt that. I mean, in their being, that there was like one organism. They just happened to have the instruments at that moment.
You just couldn't miss it if you were part of it. And because of that, and just the organic way in which it grew and the experiences, I first felt the healing energy at concerts coming through my hands and having no idea what was going on, feeling like, I know that this can heal, but we didn't have that kind of permission. Nobody.
That wasn't part of our upbringing.
No.
Right.
You have to be special, tapped by God, or fallen on your head or something. And even if
people would try to, take you to exorcisms and we know people who had these gifts at a young age and was literally beaten out of them in a lot of ways. So it wasn't really an encouraged thing.
No, it wasn't an encouraged thing. And even in the scene itself, there was no place to bounce that off. But what happened for me was that as my eyes were open through the experience of that time of my life, I made a commitment that I wanted to be part of the solution rather than part of the problem. I could see that the planet was a mess and nobody was going to clean it up. There was all this incredible suffering going on, all this destruction and degradation of nature, and I didn't know what I was going to be when I grew up. I just knew that I wanted to have some kind of effect or influence on making the world a better place and bringing the joy that we experienced in those magical experiences into my life in other ways and spread that. And as I don't think it was until we went to Egypt in 1978 that it had begun to coalesce that I was going to become a healer. I didn't know what that meant. Yet I felt that calling, and after Egypt, I went looking for teachers to be able to begin to develop the tools that were starting to come to me. And so when you pray and when you ritualize and when you commit to something in your life, it acts as a basin of attraction so that the tools come to you so that you can fulfill that commitment. And I actually
The power of intention and the power of that commitment is really unbelievable, isn't it? It's fantastic.
If you keep to it, it's undeniable. And eventually, I guess it was the spring of 1981, I realized that for me to grow into who I needed to become, I had to leave that whole scene. And that's when I left my husband and moved to Oregon, took my kids up there, got a place in the woods, and started seriously studying healing. And
why don't you go through that process? So, I mean, were there books, were there teachers, were there techniques you started doing? Was there rituals in nature?
Well, in the spring of 1981, when I moved to Eugene, was when I first heard about Reiki. That was the first actual initiation. That was the first way that I received permission. It's like being given authority to put your hands on people and allow something to happen, allow the ease of suffering, and to discover that there was this energy, this infinite energy all around us, could be moved through us and out our hands and transmitted into other people and could actually bring relief, was astonishing. And so I was very enthusiastic about it, and I didn't mind risking making a fool out of myself, which is really what it gets down to at that point. Oh, are you hurting? Here, let me. And because I was willing to do that, I was able to discover and the effectiveness and allow it to grow. And it did. And then it was about a year and a half later that I found my teacher. And her name was Nadia Eagles. She's not alive anymore, but she was teaching a blend of Hawaiian Huna and the ancient Egyptian mysteries through a hermetic magical lineage. And she taught me psychic surgery and the basic principles of healing that were integrated into me and came out as alchemical healing over the years. So that was another really pivotal point in my life. And then discovering, I guess I must have been in my 40s already, that was going to be my life. And
when you did that, I mean, it was just a real harmony, a real joy, where you felt like the wind was in your sails. I mean, there was just a tremendous beauty to it.
Well, it was amazement at first. I mean, there really wasn't anything in my childhood to indicate that I would have these gifts. And I think that's actually the crux of it. That's the most important thing. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And so my commitment went from becoming a healer to becoming a teacher. Because what I find most exciting is helping people awaken to who they already are and what they can do. And to know that this is part of our inherent right as human beings, to be able to help each other in these ways and to feel that joy of connection to this huge family of nature and the spirit world that is there to assist us in that process.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. And, you know, sometimes the amazing part is that we don't know that. I mean, you would think it on some level, so we were talking in the car driving over here, that would be the obvious part, and how this experiment came and flipped it. I mean, it's an extraordinary thing. And
how many people wanted to shut us down
right.
and stop the joy and stop that spirit of co-creation and caring for one another that I think is really the basic human nature that has somehow fallen by the wayside and been forgotten.
You know, we talk about this a lot on the show, that if you're not experiencing that root, the oneness, and once the separation happens, then, you know, all hell breaks loose. You know, so, I mean, how do we get back to the root? I mean, and that's what from what I can tell, all your teachings are about, to get back to that root experience of the oneness, of the love of God, however you would phrase it.
I would phrase it remembering.
Right.
Remembering ourselves. It's like we've been scattered through all the tragedy of life and the difficulties and the pressures, and when we remember ourselves, we become whole again. Because in ourselves is all knowledge, all, and as we enlarge to encompass that, then the people around us feel that, they respond to that, and everybody is affected.
Yeah, whether they know it or not, even whether they're conscious of it or not.
I think that's the most exciting thing about going to Egypt, is that we go from site to site and we experience the energies of the place, and we work with the deities of the place, the principles of nature that are represented in those holy monuments. And in that process, at each place, people find another part of themselves and they become empowered. And by the end, they are resonating at an entirely new and different frequency. And they don't even have to say anything, because they're carrying that and generating that, and then they work like tuning forks. And, you know, to bring into resonance all that's around them.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, I mean, you know, that your work, play, however you describe it, and what bridging's about, is to put out so much of that tuning fork, that all of a sudden the Berlin Wall falls, all of a sudden, you know, people don't want to fight as much, that the separation, the countries, the religions, the colors, the races, the creeds, you know, all the things that we see as differences, separations, kind of melt into the resonance, kind of.
And it's so important that we don't lose hope, regardless of the chaos that's going on, regardless of the suffering that's going on. We have to, it's our job, as you said, to maintain ourselves as beacons, so that other people can realize there is joy in this world and in this life. And it's our most contentious experiences, our most difficult times, that give us the opportunity to grow and rise above and transcend the ordinary and become truly strong and powerful people that can make a difference.
It's an amazing time. It's a beautiful time. And with all we were talking earlier, with all the craziness and all the, you know, seeming brutality and hurtfulness, and that there's still so much of, that love just growing. I mean, we see it, 25 times a year, people like you whose lives are really dedicated to that coming from all over the world, and say that they're seeing more and more people being drawn to it and being open to it.
It is growing. When I first took Reiki in 1981, nobody had heard of Reiki when I went out into the world, and I just watched it become a household word. And it's a wonderful doorway, and there are many exciting things that you can do as you come into your power with this. And I guess it's essentially about understanding the process of creativity itself, and then being able to manifest those principles in your life and influence and affect reality, co-create reality, co-create healing.
Yeah, we talk a lot about coming together to collaborate, to bring all the gifts that we've been given all these years to come together in joy and love, and just do shows, do workshops, do movies, just play and do all these things that in a way look important, but all they are is about us manifesting that inner joy, that inner love.
Well, this is certainly a time of collaboration on the planet. I feel like I've been sort of in my laboratory at home developing this form for 20-some years, and now it has been an alchemical process for me. And going through all the stages of discovering what is the matter, and then going through the experiences and watching that matter be infused with spirit over time until the enlightenment that is the true alchemical gold begins to emerge and express itself in a form that is shareable, that can be taken out in the world, and from which people can learn these basic principles of healing and creation.
Okay, we're going to take a break and see the second video. Why don't you if you could give one tool, idea, thought that people could take into the break, to take into the music, what would you give? Which gift would you give at the moment?
I would say that the most important thing we need to be focusing on at this time is moving from will to heart, from ego to essence.
Sounds good. That's a good start. Okay, so maybe what we'll do is see the second rainbow video now. It's from the Rainbow Gathering, Bless the People, words and music by Windsong, the Rainbow People.
Bless the people. Bless the people. Bless the people. Bless the people. Bless the people.
that was beautiful, huh? So we're back with Nicky. So you're doing some new work play with healing and animal totems. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? And you're going to do a healing or a teaching or something.
Take people on a little journey.
Okay, good.
When my work first started coming in, my own work, it was a connection to mostly the animal totems and deities of various pantheons and plant spirit medicines. And what I learned was that all of nature has intelligence and consciousness, that we as people tend to be chauvinistic, and you have to speak, not only speak, but speak our language in order for communication to happen. And so that's very limiting. But when you get into the realm of working with animal totems, then you begin to connect with the various perspectives of the different aspects of nature. If you were to go to a Native American dance, for example, like a buffalo dance, and there'd be people dancing wearing buffalo robes, they would be literally seeing from the perspective of the buffalo. It would be like a transmography. They would become the buffalo. And so the work with animal totems is like that. As you make a relationship with a totem, then you have the benefit of their perspective and their intelligence and their skills. So if you were to fly with an eagle, you would have that lofty vision and that ability to distinguish from that great height the difference between a stone and a mouse. And so if we were to connect to the trees and the plants in nature, we know that the medicines we need for most all our ills are right there for us in our gardens and in our forests. And that the benefit of these relationships can play out very pragmatically in your life.
Yeah, they're supposed to manifest. They're supposed to be they're part of our world. They're part of our interaction.
And certainly they have as much invested in the healing of this planet as we do. We go down, we take them with us. And
we're all cutting the branch we're sitting on.
I'm afraid
Very bad man.
Bad manners.
That's very smart.
No, the gene pool is withering away, isn't it?
That's very smart, you American people.
So, there's tremendous wisdom in the nature around us. And so one of the things that I do is I'm a map maker, a cartographer of the inner planes. And so in power animal meditations, I have an alchemy, a meditation that takes people into a perspective where then they can connect with all the various aspects of nature. And what defines this and keeps it or is unique amongst other forms that do this, because it's a shamanic practice that's done around the world, but this is a very specific way to get there. And what defines it is its connection to its consistent striving to be connected to the highest wisdom as our overview, and that's the governing force that guides us and takes us to the unique experience that's there to teach us at any given time. And the animal totems each bring their gifts that are natural to them, and so we might choose one over another depending upon what's going on in our lives or what we're needing help with. So I'm not going to use the alchemy of power animal meditations because it's kind of inappropriate for television. But as I continued and developed alchemical healing as a healing form further, these principles, and I think I want to speak of the 4 principles of healing before we actually do the meditation, because if you understand these principles and look at any creative aspect of your life, you will be able to see how they work. The first principle is the skill that you bring. So as a healer, I've developed lots of various skills, and people that come to study with me bring their own skills. And if we're dealing with serious illness, we also have the skill of our doctors. And so, no, that's more about relationship. This is about the skill that each person has that's through their life experience. That's the first principle. The second principle is the relationships, particularly the relationships that you make with spirit. So if you make a relationship with animal totems, then you have the benefit of their perspective and intelligence and their gifts that you can call into play in any creative process or healing that you do. The third principle in alchemical healing is the magic, the leaving time for magic to happen, the mystery, that which you cannot expect, divine intervention, the miracles that happen. And that's a principle without which the process isn't whole. So you're never doing it yourself. You always are engaged with other intelligent forces in the universe, and you always allow for the magic. So what do you think the fourth principle would be?
I was going to say the other 3 are pretty all-encompassing. So somehow to let go, to surrender.
Gratitude.
Gratitude, yeah.
Appreciation. And attention is the highest form of gratitude. To pay attention. Attention is the coin of the realms. So that
all we have in a way on earth is time and attention. So
those are the principles that the healing form that I've been developing are based in. And the other defining thing, I started by saying there were 2. One was wisdom, and the other is the heart-centeredness, that this work must be generated from a place of heart.
Not intellectual, not mind. I mean, there's got to be a balance, but there has to be that heart component.
If you're coming from the heart, then the intelligence of the mind is expressed through the heart. I'm not dissing the mind. In fact, my spiritual teacher is Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom, or principle of wisdom, that is the governing force of this work, regardless of what form it takes. Mm-hmm. And so learning that signature is a very important part, so that you know when you're in the presence of the wisest possible solution to any given problem. But what we're going to do for simplicity is I'm going to share a breath with you that I call the heart breath, to get you into that perspective of the heart and to kindle your own heart flame. And then in the light of your heart flame, I'd like to introduce you to a really good friend and spirit helper in the form of bear. The bear is one of the most powerful totems for healing, and has the strength to be able to assist you and protect you, and the wisdom of all the plants in nature. So it's like having an herbalist for a friend that can give you medicines and guidance in that way. A very, very powerful ally to make a relationship with. And my purpose for this particular journey is to make that connection and get an experience, even if just a brief experience of what it might be like to allow yourself to be assisted by a being of such strength that you could rest into that strength and alleviate stress and achieve a level of relaxation that most of us don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, start.
Ready to
yeah.
go?
Great.
So what I would ask you to do is You can do this with your eyes closed or open. You might want to close your eyes for a minute, but then you'd miss seeing my beautiful face on your screen. But the idea is to be able to focus inward and find the eternal flame that lives within your heart. And as you bring your heart flame into focus, feed it with love. Pour love upon your flame, and that makes a strong fire for this alchemical process. So just take a moment to get a sense of your inner heart flame and how it grows and intensifies and brightens when you pour love upon it. And then I'll ask you to add to this intentional focus, breathing as though you're pulling breath from the heart of the earth. You're pulling it up through your body to your heart and letting the energy of the earth mingle with your own heart fire and breathing that out through your heart into the world. And then bring as though you're drawing the breath down from the heavens. This is really bridging heaven and earth here. You're bridging heaven and earth with your breath, pulling the breath in from above into your heart center, letting that breath mingle with your heart flame, expressing that out through your heart, and then breathing simultaneously from above, from the earth, bringing heaven and earth together in your heart with your heart flame on a deep breath and expressing that out. And as you breathe in that way, as you pull in the power of the breath and the intelligence that comes with that energy from heaven and earth, as you exhale that, intend that you will be able to, that your breath will enlighten that space where bear will begin to appear for you. So you draw your breath in, and then you breathe it out, and with each breath your vision will clarify and that bear will come more into focus. It's okay to imagine that bear and notice if it's a black bear or a brown bear or a grizzly bear. Mine's a grizzly bear. She's an old grandma bear that always makes me feel safe and comforted. And just allow that bear to come into being in front of you and make eye contact with this bear. Open your heart while your heart is open from your breath and ask if this bear will be with you, will help you, will protect you and give you strength. And then just be for a moment, pay attention and notice whether you feel or see or simply know that bear moving closer to you, and allow yourself to be comfortable with the presence of this bear. Reach out and touch her fur. You might even smell her presence and feel that comfort and safety of the power of this strong ally. And if you feel comfortable enough, let the bear have a bear hug. See what a real bear hug is about, knowing that we're not in the wild here. This is a safe situation. Or just maybe let the bear touch you gently and feel that power and energy come into your body, whatever's comfortable for you, so that you can feel that maybe you can let this spirit relationship come into your life. And the bear will show you things. The bear will come into your dreams. The bear knows the minerals of the planet, knows the plants, and loves children. So just take a minute to have an experience. Let this bear introduce itself to you and notice how you can relax in its presence and know that there's this being that can help to support you. And whenever you're ready, then you can bring your attention back, knowing that you can return and develop this relationship as you move forward in your life, knowing that there is this totem, this power animal ally who's willing to help and support you. But it's up to you to continue and make that relationship. This bear can help you to heal yourself. So be sure and ground and center and breathe naturally for a moment. And know that this ally is there for you. You're still there with your bear, Alan?
Oh my God, are we still doing the show? That was beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That was wonderful.
Were you able to get a sense of your bear?
I was. It was very beautiful. Thank you.
I think it's different for, one thing I'd like to suggest to people, I didn't know how long that we could go on.
The show's been over for about 20 minutes. We're here all alone in the studio, so not to...
One of the things I wanted to suggest is that a lot of people don't get simply held enough or touched. And one of the things that I've done with Bear is I see people at every level of stress in their lives, and there's just so much pressure in the way our society is that many of us don't really, we find ourselves just on this kind of treadmill of life, and we're constantly going and going, or at least that's kind of my experience. And to take time to relax is not that easy. So one of the things I do with Bear is, as an ally, is for power relaxing. And when I'm introducing Bear to people who are really under a lot of stress, I'll have them lean into Bear and let Bear do the heavy lifting. And I've seen people in 5 minutes get a level of relaxation, being willing to give over to the energy of Bear to help them and support them in that way. And it's been astonishing, the effect. So it's just a suggestion.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So, and you see people being open to like being helped and guided and aided by plant spirits and animal spirits, and I mean, because that also wasn't taught, you know, growing up. You and I grew up in similar places, I think, and you know, that wasn't, you had a pet maybe, but I mean, that level of intelligence, that level of support wasn't.
It's been cut off from us. It used to be. Well, certainly the Western European traditions, it's very clear that the healing knowledge before the Inquisition had been handed down mostly through the women, but the knowledge of healing plants, and it still comes through to us. There are many great herbalists and herb schools happening now to reteach people about the properties of plants. But what's interesting that I've discovered is that you don't need the actual plant in order to get its effectiveness. You can connect with the spirit and the power of the plant. Right. And I don't do healings anymore where I don't apply those powers. And when I don't know what plant to use because I'm not really an herbalist, I will call on the bear or the medicine Buddha or a wise old crone that I work with and simply ask for a remedy for that person.
I know, it's amazing.
It comes in and you can just lay it in, and it's instantaneous.
It's really magic, isn't it? That's and joyous and magic. I mean, that's been my experience. And when you start to open up to the magic of this experience.
I think that my
You
job
have
is...
about 30 seconds,
Okay.
so whatever you want somebody to hear in the next 30 seconds, go.
I think what it's about is turning magic into science and still keep the mystery.
Wow. That's a mouthful. That's great. All right, so I guess we're coming to the end of the show again, and I hope you had, the knowledge and the joy and the love that was here, because I know I could feel it. And if you want information about Nicky, call me, Alan, 805-687-2053, 805-687-2053. Whatever you heard tonight, you can take in your life. You can take the love, you can take the joy, you can take the bear, you can take the protection. So do it. Good night. We love you. God bless you. Thank you.